introduce myself. I think I know most, but some I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm Steve Harding. I'm the project designer, and we have been engaged in this project since, believe it or not, 2012. That was the genesis, and we're now in 2019 and looking at an opening. But I want to talk for a minute about what really this center represents and what it should represent to you, is that it's preserving history, and you're lucky to have it. Not all cultures do, and you do. This collection is from the people who have come to our scanning sessions and offered their photographs, those who have given us stories, the Panna Maria Historical Societies, the historical societies in other towns, those who have contributed artifacts. This is a rich history that's now a part of the Panna Maria archive. And I have to tell you, again, I reiterate, you're lucky to have it. And this is the repository for that. Faith, family, and community has become a part of the dialogue of the center, and that was introduced in our first exhibit plan in 2013, because we felt this really sums up what these people were about. They were leaving their home, but they were bringing with them their faith. They established their communities again in this country, and their families were the most important part of themselves. Their community, their family, and their faith. These three things summarize these people. The project originated for me, with Bishop Yanta, and you may recall he as a priest realized that he didn't know his own culture. He knew more about the black culture and the Hispanic culture that he'd grown up with and that he'd ministered to than he did about his Polish origins. So he did something about it. He went back to Poland, he learned Polish, he made this a part of his life. And subsequently, he collected information that he decided he would make a Polish Heritage Center for all of you. It isn't his, it's yours. And it would be this story of these peoples, and then it's advanced to the story of a nation, of a people, and his legacy. This legacy continues every year. Descendants go back to Poland, and they rediscover, they reconnect with their roots, and this is just an amazing part of the story. I had an opportunity to go to Poland. I took a cameraman with me, and we were able to film while we were in Poland. So we have, some wonderful, wonderful footage. We collected these moments where people would meet their families, and you can see where's Sam. Was he? Anyway, we have this wonderful footage of Sam meeting his relatives, and you just look at their faces, and they're Qataris. There's no doubt that they are Qataris. And so, this is all part of our archive as we go forward now and start putting together movies and these various parts and pieces of the center. And I wanted to, part of what I wanted. I'm not going to talk to you really about the history in detail. That's where we'll look at some pictures and we'll talk about where things go. But that's not my role today. That's part of the story. I want to tell you what's in it, what's here, and give you a little bit of a look behind the scenes. What are the parts and pieces of this center? And one of the elements is we use very large paintings from 10 feet tall to 5 feet, 7 feet wide, it's 7 feet high, 5 feet wide, 20 foot wide. These are graphics that kind of tell the story, and they're augmented or amplified by audio stories and videos, and also by, with an audio wand system that you can access stories in Polish, Spanish, English, and youth stories. So we have these different levels of story that will be told. And we have an audio wand system that I can show you later. It's really not, it's a detail that we can look at later, but it's intuitive, it's simple. You may have gone to museums in the past and punched numbers into an audio wand to get a story. No more. All you do with this wand is point. You'll point the wand at the language you want, Polish or Spanish. It will already be loaded with English. You point your wand at that, and now you're loaded. You're ready to go. And then you will point your wand at a trigger at any exhibit, and that's what you'll hear. No numbers, just boop, boop, done. So it's very, very simple and intuitive. One of the elements that supports these large paintings, not in every case, but in some, is what we call overhead projection. And these are projections up above the view plane, the graphic your view plane, and this is happening above, and it just augments and supports it as you approach. You see these wonderful images that are just telling you a little bit more of the story before you get the story. So it's just a visual amplification. And then where do these paintings come from? You know, from 966 to the middle of the 19th century, we didn't have photography and videography. We had paintings and drawings that we had to deal with. Paintings and drawings are how the church communicated to their environment, to their flocks well, still today, but certainly in the from 966 until 1800, before literacy began to become part of our everyday culture. So what we do, how these came about, is I do a sketch. It's not highly artistic, but it gets the point across. It tells my artist, I want a boat, I want people on it, I want these guys here, I want this here, this here, this here. The artist in Annapolis then takes this and evolves it into a painting. And the same thing happens with each of them. So you'll have, for instance, here's the Civil War. So we have the sketch that says, here's these guys sitting here, this is going to be Peter Kobasa, these are going to be the black soldiers, this is going to be the Confederates going off to war, this is going to be them coming home, and their families, and then these little notes, and a painting evolves. First a pencil and a painting, and we work back and forth to get it done. Another thing I wanted to point out, because it's important, is that in the library room, the Silesian Profiles Committee, the group that has created this seminal list of all of these descendants. It's an incredible body of work, and profiles of their families and the brands. I mean, all this information that we have, this storehouse of information that's preserving this history. Much of it is from these researchers, and they've created this map of the region of Upper Silesia, and on the map is every single parish and every single town that these guys came from. Wow. Every single one. And so this information will be there, if you know, and in German and in Polish, because the names of the towns flip back and forth through history depending on who was in charge. So if you have reference of your family in a letter and it's in German, you can find out where that town was. Or if it's in Polish, you can find out where that town is and know exactly where your family came from. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. And it's very, very complete.
Is it going to be like a great big thing on the wall?
It's going to be a great big map on the wall in the library, and then I'm recommending that it be incorporated into the computers, so in the archive, so that you'll be able to look at it, come in close on it, find your village, get a relative scale, where it is in relationship to. I mean, this is a very small region. It looks big when you see it on a map, but this is Poland. This is the region, and this is Texas. So you know. Something about like this. So it's not...
Can be attached to genealogy also, right?
It's what?
Can be attached to the genealogy.
Well, the Silesian profiles are the genealogy.
Well,
I mean, the records.
Yes,
search.
but I mean...
Genealogical search.
The town names to where the people came from, it can be. I don't have that information. That'll be up to the people who are creating the database.
Because people are going to come here to search.
Yeah, but that'll be...
Yeah.
When the database is created, that's
Okay.
something that should be incorporated, so it would link back to the families.
Good. Thank you.
So, that's the brief introduction. I think we could probably go out into the lobby and start looking at where things go and what they are, if you'd like to. Okay?